Like the Washington-Ireland program and the South Africa-Washington International program, NSL brings exceptional university students to Washington, D.C. in the summers for a program designed to give them the chance to create a new story about the future they want to share. These 10 students, 5 Israelis and 5 Palestinians, live with American host families, gain professional experience and networking skills in American workplaces, and learn to connect with one another and the wider Washington audience by telling their individual and their shared stories. But NSL stands out because of the urgency of the situation in the Middle East, an urgency that demands not just creating a shared story, but following through with action on the ground. Each of our students now arrives in DC with the outline of a project for change. During their 7 weeks here, they narrow down these projects to the ones the group believes are most likely to succeed and commit themselves to making sure they carry them out once they return home. The projects for change are now the focus of the NSL program, the motivating force behind the stories. I was born and raised in New Orleans, but have called Washington home for 40 years. I hate to admit this. My educational background is in science, but I also love art history, cooking, as the students will attest, and gardening. I think of myself as a professional volunteer. As a child, I grew up in a secular home, but I adored my step-grandmother, who was a devout Catholic. So at age 10, I became a Catholic by choice so that I could be more like her. When I married and had kids, I gravitated to Judaism, the religion of my father and my mother, and of my husband's family. So I'm used to having a foot in several camps at once. My first exposure to a conflict resolution program was with students in the Washington-Ireland program. My husband, Richard, and I started by taking one Northern Irish student into our home for 8 weeks in the summer of 2003. After that, we hosted 2 Irish students each summer until the students in that program helped start a similar one in South Africa. Then we began taking one host son or daughter from each program. I had often suggested that there should be a similar program for the Middle East, but for several ideas, nothing came of that idea. Then Paul Costello, whom you all know, NSL's president and founder, asked if I would be interested in helping him start one. I jumped at the chance. Since 2010, it's been one of the greatest pleasures in our lives for my husband and me to host young leaders from all 3 programs, NSL, WIP, and SAWIP, each summer. Now it's your turn to hear what they have to say about their world and the future they envision for themselves.